Tourism is a cornerstone for San Antonio's economy. And while the numbers have been fluctuating, especially since COVID, we are still a solid tourist destination. One way we gauge this is by looking at hotel occupancy rates, which show us how many people are visiting San Antonio. Michelle Madson watches those numbers constantly in her role as president and CEO of the San Antonio Hotel and Lodging Association. Michelle, thank you for joining us today. And we know that the hospitality industry employs about 150,000 people in San Antonio. It's a very large sector of our economy, and I assume we are still the most visited destination by outsiders from across Texas and the country within Texas. Tell us a little bit about the metrics. Give us a sense of the scale of this industry to San Antonio.
Yeah, so as you said, we employ 150,000 people, which equates to about 1 in 8 San Antonio citizens work in hospitality.
Some form of hospitality.
Yes, yeah. And so we, like you said, are a cornerstone of our economy. Last year in 2024, we generated about $23.4 billion in economic impact.
That's wages, purchases, contracts, vending,
retail,
construction.
Transportation, lodging, restaurants, all of those things, $23.4 billion. And we saw about 36 million visitors to our city.
36 million visitors.
Yes.
In 24.
In 24, yes.
Okay.
We just got the 24 numbers in.
How are we doing this year?
So, you know, occupancy rates have been a little bit flat. They've been a little stagnant for the past year or two. But we are still a top destination in the state. We have the top destinations in the Riverwalk and in the Alamo. Okay. And so we're seeing a plateau in occupancy, but where we're seeing the growth is in those numbers. The 23.4 billion is about 34% higher than our pre-pandemic peak in 2019. And so people are coming and they're spending more money, which is great. So
we are ahead of where we were before COVID.
In terms of economic impact, we definitely are. We're still lagging behind a little bit on that visitorship number just because it's uncertain times. There's a lot of things happening.
You mentioned the #1 touristic visits to the Alamo and to the Riverwalk, but then there is Fiesta Texas, and there is SeaWorld, and there is the Mercado, and there is the Missions Reach, and all of these other things that bring people to San Antonio. Just give me a sense of who are the visitors. Some of them are conventions.
Yep.
And the conventions are strong, but others are just families making visits within Texas, and they drive to San Antonio.
We are a drive market. Yeah. We have about 85% people drive to San Antonio to visit it. Yes, it's a huge number. People from the Rio Grande Valley. Our biggest influx of drive market is from within Texas and the surrounding states, so Louisiana, Oklahoma. But also we have a really robust convention schedule. We have seen a lot of growth in our citywide bookings. Visit San Antonio has done a phenomenal job in this latter part of the year, exceeding their goals for room night bookings and convention bookings.
Some of those are really big conventions.
Yes, we've
like
had
10,000 person conventions.
Yes, we've had big conventions like Cvent Connect, which is a huge meeting planners convention where people who...
Well, that's a good one to get.
Yes, it is. And so we poached them from Las Vegas about 2 years ago, and so they have twice chosen San Antonio as their destination. In 2023, we hosted IPW, which was the International Meeting Planner Association, and that was a huge win for us because that will, for 7 years, I believe, is the ROI on those travelers coming back.
Year in and year out, I mean, week in and week out, we have medical conventions, librarians, teachers, coaches.
All of those things. All of those people love choosing San Antonio as a destination because we are a family-friendly destination, because we have such vibrant culture. And so we see those people come back time and time again, particularly with our bandmasters, with our Texas Coaches Association.
And there used to be some conventions that came only here. Every year they came to San Antonio.
Yes, like those ones. They still only choose San Antonio as a destination.
Yeah, so they look forward every year to coming back, which means we have to be attentive to new offerings, the Riverwalk improvements, and of course the vote related to Proposition A and B for the stock show and rodeo. That concept is interesting to me. Year-around agricultural ranching and cowboy experiences.
I am so excited about that project because I think that it fits right into our San Antonio culture. You don't realize how big of an economic driver that industry is until you get into it, until you see it. And so what they are talking about doing at the rodeo with year-round activations and bringing in those shows
it builds on our tradition, and it builds on our role as the center of South Texas. So people will come from Alice and Uvalde and Sabinal and
Nevada.
Oh, really?
You know, I mean, Nevada, Las Vegas is a huge center for that cowboy culture, that rodeo, year-round activation.
Year-round?
Yes, and so they will
so
start coming to San Antonio
We're going to compete
now.
for that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Spurs Arena with the attendant hemisphere improvements. That's another new thing that people will be attracted to.
I think that that's what people, everyone's excited about the Spurs, right? We're so excited that Prop B passed and that we're going to keep the Spurs downtown. But what's
30-year commitment.
It's amazing. But what's more exciting for me and for my members is the other pieces that go along with the sports and entertainment district. It's the expansion of our convention center. It's the improvements to the Alamo Dome. Because these things are critical to our ability to compete with Texas cities moving forward. Austin, Dallas, Houston are all in the process of either renovating or in some cases demolishing their convention centers, and so we need to be able to keep up with that.
Sure.
Right now, we've done a great job.
Stale.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially if people will come back second and third time and they see exactly the same thing. They'll say to their family, "We've already been there. We saw that."
Exactly.
But we need them to say, "But you haven't seen the new."
Right.
The new iterations. Yeah.
It will help us to keep attracting things like the Final Four that we had this year that brought $440 million in 4 days into our economy. And so it will help us be a player on that level and really bring the kind of access to events that our citizens deserve. We're the 7th largest city in the nation.
That was a great event, the Final Four, and then we've got the Alamo Bowl coming up in December. That's always a draw, and it's always a treat to see people from Nebraska and California cheering their teams on the San Antonio River.
Right.
Yeah, for that in that time of the year when people are not attending conventions that time of the year. So that's a filler for us. Tell me about the continuing growth of hotels and hotel rooms. I'm always stunned. I tell people, any building in San Antonio that stands still for more than a month is being considered to be a hotel or being converted to being a hotel. Can we sustain that growth of rooms without clear evidence that occupancy is going to rise to previous levels?
Well, so I think that there were two things that were happening. One was a lot of that development started pre-pandemic. A lot of those were already in production or already on the way before we had this global issue where everyone had to stay home.
Which was stunning. I mean, literally, hotels were closed. They had zero visitors for months.
An incredibly unique time and a really trying time. But so now they are finishing out those investments. They're building out those rooms and opening those hotels. And I think what we're seeing now is people are reading the tea leaves with the downtown sports and entertainment district, with all of the investment that we're willing to make in our city. And they're saying, and they're betting on San Antonio.
So they're anticipating and planning ahead, because you can't just plunk a hotel into place.
Right.
It takes 4 or 5 years to plan it, finance it, get it built.
Exactly.
And so this will come online about the same time as some of these improvements.
Exactly.
Yeah. So obviously you're bullish on San Antonio and tourism.
Yes.
And not only that, but you work every day to make those ideas come to fruition. What grade would you give our touristic efforts? We've had some changes. We changed from a city-managed Convention and Visitors Bureau to run by the industry, and other changes. What grade would you give the efforts?
I mean, right now I'd give us a A+. I just came from the Visit San Antonio annual meeting, and the things that they've got in the works for the next fiscal year are going to be really huge drivers for tourism here. Their number one mantra this year is heads and beds, which for my members is perfect, because that's what we want.
Pretty basic.
We want to increase occupancy, but what they've really managed to capture is the spirit of San Antonio. Okay. We're leaning into our culture. We're leaning into who we are as a city and trying to show people that across the globe and to get them to come and visit. And so I think that, you know, in addition to, I mentioned that Austin, Dallas, and Houston are all having their convention centers pulled down or partly operational for a time.
To expand or modernize or
We've
something.
managed to poach a lot of that business for the next fiscal year. So our convention bookings for next year are going to be
pretty
really,
strong.
really great.
Well, it's important for San Antonians to know that as we build out new industry sectors like cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, grow the biosciences, education, higher education, all these things we're doing, there is a mainstay, which is our role as a touristic center for Texas and increasingly for people from across the United States.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that job.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being with us here.
Of course, thank you.